What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
Well, tell me about what is it? Freight train lending?
Freight train lending. You are correct,
I
sir.
like that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, real quick, thanks again for your time. I do appreciate it.
My
Um,
pleasure.
yeah, and it was funny. I was in a networking meeting with H7 folks, and all of a sudden, every single one of them started saying your name. Yeah, I know,
The
and
shit
they
I have to put up with, Jimmy, it's just
I
awful.
know it was awful. I'd never been in a room like that where someone's name was over and over and over. But no, it was funny. And so anyway, I said, "Well, I don't know Chris, and I would like to meet this guy." So they were like, "Oh my gosh, you don't know Chris?" I'm like, no. Like, okay. So
Well,
anyway,
first
funny.
of all, I haven't been doing this for very long, so
Okay,
in terms of H7, so
okay.
we would have met, but I'm
Yeah. Yeah, well, I got into I didn't even know what networking was, man. I didn't even know. I just knew a buddy of mine had introduced me to Clay X, and I said, "I like what you got going on, Clay. I want to hear more." And it ran from there. I've been with H7 now 3 years, believe it or not.
Oh,
And
you have?
yeah,
Wow. How's
yeah,
that been?
I love it. It's 90. It's not. It's about 90, 89, 80, about 90% of my business. So
No
I love it.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah, and it is work. I mean, it's not. I think people get networking wrong. I think a lot of times they go in and they go, "Hey, buy me," or they go in there and they think they're going to get a massive result within 3 meetings. It's not true. It's basically you have to do the work. Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of trading off, but I'm over in the background sitting there. Hey, I've never met you before, Lisa. Let's connect. And that's what it takes. It takes you really. You got to do the work before you to see the results.
Right,
You
right.
know, but yeah, it's, I mean, again, about 90% of my, and it may not be someone specifically from H7, but the conversation started from some type of connection through H7. So yeah, I'm having a lot of
So,
fun.
what do you attribute your success to with H7? I mean, I've talked to people across the board. Some people that I talked to somebody who said, I've been a member for 3 years and haven't got a single thing. I still find value in it. And then others that, like, well, you're the other end of the spectrum. I mean, what do you think that is?
I believe number one, you have to be persistent. You have to be consistent. You have to go so that they know your last name. I go enough so they start knowing my last name. I think that's where the relationship, I want them to know when it comes to needing commercial lending, needing some type of financing for their clients, and we'll go into that in a minute. I want them to think of me. Well, you need to meet Jimmy. Very similar to kind of what happened to you. I don't even know the conversation. All of a sudden, they start talking about Chris, and I was like, I need to meet this guy.
Right.
And that's what you want. You want them thinking of you. I would say that's the number one thing would be that is being consistent. The second one would be building the relationship, not meeting. I don't want to meet you once, Chris. I want to meet you 3, 4, 5, 6 times so that you know what I do. I know what you do. And because I'm constantly meeting people, I don't know. We might, if we don't talk for another 6 months, I'm not going to remember you, you know?
Well,
So,
that's one of the things I'm really trying to kind of wrap my arms around is, you know, I've met so many people. It's like, oh, how do I keep it straight? And now I've started to put together like a Trello table. I don't know if you're familiar where I can kind of rank people, not so much rank them, but by category, that sort of thing.
yep,
And
that helps.
it does help, but that in itself is a pretty fair amount of work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think people get overwhelmed with that too because and then it's time management because you can't network all the time and never do your job. I think a lot. I hear that more than I do anything. Is well, I was doing some networking, but it started getting into my other stuff. Well, then you need a time block. You got to block off when you network
Absolutely.
because I've done it. I love meeting people, but there's been times I have to back off for 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, I
Right.
never forget going to a meeting with Clay one time. And said, "Where you been?" It's only been like 3 weeks, right? But he's like, "Where you been?" I'm like, dude, I had too many meetings. He's like, I get it. I get it. It's okay. And
I,
that's what I think is a key benefit to H7. I tell other people this. If someone's thinking about coming to H7, we're not going to take attendance. This isn't college. We're not going to sit there and say, hey, how many? It's up to you to show up. And if you
Right.
show up, the more you show up, the more you're going to get out of it. Otherwise, we'll see you when you come.
One of the things that I've been thinking about is like there's so many groups that I want to be a part of. And what I'm finding is, first thing, as far as what you said, I turned my Calendly link down so that I think I can only have two one-on-ones a day type of thing.
Right.
But oh shoot, I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about the different meetings to go to, wanting to go to
Oh,
different.
so my thinking is I'm trying to, in the groups that I want to be a part of, be there at least every other week.
Yeah.
Sometimes every week, but for me, I think does that ring true for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because we all get busy. We all have things to do. But I do, well, again, I go back to they see your face. Mine is the train. Everybody loves this train for some
Yeah.
reason. They don't even have to see me. They just want to see this train. But
Right.
either way, whatever jogs their memory, I'm good with. So yes, I would completely say, because I hear that a lot, that they go to a couple meetings and then they didn't get anything back. Well, why didn't you go to the same meetings 3 or 4 times?
Right. I think I think we're on the same page in terms of,
Absolutely.
dude, it's about building a relationship. Well, I hear that there's this, what, connect, serve, ask.
Right.
It's all about connecting, right?
That's,
So yeah,
that's
and I've really, really enjoyed that. I mean, I just couldn't be happier. First I was like, well, I should just start marketing at LinkedIn, and that it's okay, but you just don't get this. So
yes.
anyway,
Yep. And bring up LinkedIn real quick. We were talking about that today in one of our meetings, one of our networking meetings, and we found that interesting. There were several that had not got the results from LinkedIn, and I shared with the group, and I'd love to share with you as well. What happened was, the algorithms have changed, things have changed, and it's cold. It's a cold market. Cold
Yep.
takes forever.
Yep.
And what I've been using with LinkedIn is like, we'll meet today. I'm going to add you on Facebook. I'm going to add you as a friend, right, or whatever. We're going to be connected now. And then I'm going to tag you when I make a sale, or I'm going to tag you when I offer. And so with LinkedIn, a lot of times if you use it as a marketing, as a follow up, hey, this is that person. They're doing this. They're doing this, and then it's a nice little reminder to be in their face again.
And that's a great point. And now I message probably more on LinkedIn than I do via email, at least initially, right? Then once you've got so just because I'm curious, when you think about H7, what's like the one thing that you think is the most important thing for people to be thinking about as if they're coming to H7 as a business trying to get their
to talk through the room. The people that you're looking for is not in that room. The people that you're looking for is Chris's friend, his boss, something like that.
Yep.
I would say talking through the room. That's the most important, because I think people go for I think we're just trained that way. We go and we sell our product. We throw our product out there. We go, boom, here you go. Who's in? Who wants it? Who wants it? And it doesn't work like that.
No, absolutely.
So